we're going to be factoring out what I call blobs. And then let's get down to what the concept is. If I look at the concept that says, suppose I have 2x squared plus 10x cubed. Now we can factor that without hardly any thinking. Greatest common factor between 2 and 10 is 2. The smallest power of x is x squared. But from then, we know, well, oh gee, that's just going to be 1 minus 5x. Well, how did we get that? If I'm removing an x squared, well, I'm removing a 2, so it's gone. And then from the x squared, I am going to remove I've got 2 x's, I'm taking 2 of them, so it's gone. From the 10, I'm removing a 5, so that gives me, I'm removing a 2, that gives me a 5. And then from the x cubed, I'm removing an x squared. So I'm taking 2 of those. So this is then 2x squared times x to the 0 plus 5. 3 minus 2 is 1, x to the 1. And the reason why there's going to be a 1 in that position, because we know that x to the 0 is 1. So that is the concept. That is the concept behind removing a greatest common factor. Now, I'm going to change this just slightly, and I'm going to be looking at a 2x to the 1/2 plus 10x to the 3/2. Now, instead of having whole number exponents, I'm going to have fractional exponents. But the process is identical. I have a greatest common factor of 2. The smallest power on the x's is x to the 1/2. I'm taking a 2. From the x to the 1/2, I'm removing 1/2, because that's what I have to the outside, plus I'm taking a 2 from the 10, leaving with a 5, and from an x for the 3/2, I'm removing 1/2, so the concept remains intact. So I'm going to have 2x to the 1/2 times x to the 0 plus 5x, 3/2 minus 1/2 is 2/2 or 1, or 2x to the 1/2, 1 plus 5x. Now I'm just going to make an itty bitty little change. So 2x to the 1/2, that looks the same. But instead of having an x to the positive 3/2, I'm going to make it an x to the negative 3/2. Now how's that going to change things? Well, numerically it's not going to change, because I still have a greatest common factor of 2. I still have the greatest common factor of x, but the smaller power between the 1/2 and the 3/2, negative 3/2, is negative 3/2. You always remove the smallest power, because that's the smallest number of x's that you have. So how does this work? Well, I'm taking a 2, so it's gone. From an x to the 1/2, I'm going to remove a negative 3/2 plus 5. From an x to the negative 3/2, I'm going to remove a negative 3/2. So that this becomes 2x to the negative 3/2. A minus and a minus form a plus. So I'm going to have 1/2 plus 3/2 is 4/2. 4/2 is 2. 5, a minus and a minus form a plus. minus 3/2 plus 3/2 is 0. So now my final answer is 2x to the negative 3/2 times x squared plus 5 times 1 is just 5. Now I'm going to make another slight change. I'm going to go back to the first problem that we did, and I'm going to write this as 2 times 2x minus 1 squared plus 10 times 2x minus 1 cubed. So I replace the x's by a quantity. Now in this particular instance, and some of you won't need to do this later on, is I'm going to make a substitution. I'm going to make a substitution. I'm going to let b for blob be equal to just the common parentheses 2x minus 1. This is going to give me a 2. 2x minus 1 is b squared plus 10. 2x minus 1 is b, and this time it's going to be cubed. And now it's a problem like we worked in the beginning, because now the greatest common factor is 2b squared. And you're left with 1 minus 5b. But b is not b. b is 2x minus 1. And I left it in parentheses, so that says b squared 1 minus 5b to the 1 Now I've replaced b, I can simplify, so I get 2 times 2x minus 1 squared, 1 minus 10x plus 5. And I've made a sign error here. So this is going to be a minus 5. Now combine like terms. And I'm going to get a 10x. This should be a plus. Is that a plus? No, it's a minus. And I'm going to get a minus 4. But I'm still not done. By the way, if this were an equation, I'm going to solve it. I could actually leave it in this form. And so in this particular instance, I need to, because I'm factoring, this one has a common factor of 2. So I have 2 times 2x minus 1 squared times common factor of 2, 5x minus 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 2x minus 1 squared, 5x minus 2.